Everybody ready? All right, everybody, let's get started. Mr. Technician, on your cue. All right, everybody, the City of Catoola Council will meet for a regular meeting on Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022 at 7 p.m. at the Alexander Convention Center, Conference Room 290 on IH 35 Exes Road, Cotulla, Texas. This is an open meeting subject to open meeting laws of the state of Texas. Roll call. I believe only one councilman is not here. He's passed on, so he will be deeply missed. So moving on to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Citizens to be heard. City Council cannot discuss any present issue, nor may any action be taken at any given issue at this time. Citizens to be heard. The first one is Patricia Garcia.
Good evening. I'm here for as you all know, my husband Juan Garcia, councilman, passed away on February 17th. He had voiced his opinion to me about who he would like to fill his position if anything were to ever happen to him. So I'm here to tell y'all who that person was on his behalf. And that person that individual that he wanted to fill his place is Gilbert Ayala. Juan has confidence in Gilbert Ayala and believe that he would do a good job with all of you in his place. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Mindy Oster. Thank you for coming in, Ms. Oster.
Yes, sir, thank you. Thank you for letting me speak this evening. I would like to give my condolences to Mrs. Garcia and to all of you. I know you were sure very close friends with him. And as I know that appointment position will be open, I wanted to nominate who I think would be a great fit. And so as a City of Catoola resident and taxpayer, I'd like to submit Dr. Etika Ramos for Council Member Place 3. Dr. Ramos currently serves as an administrator at Catoola ISD, and her experience in that role makes her not only qualified, but an asset that she would lead through leadership, dedication, and ability to think out of the box. She has extensive educational background and real-world experience, and also places great importance on honesty and transparency in representing the citizens of our great town. With the appointment of Dr. Ramos, the educational perspective would be a great addition and fostering a connected relationship with our school district, and ensuring that Catoola continues to grow and prosper for future generations. Also, as a taxpayer, I believe we need council members who lead with integrity and are good communicators. And I know without a doubt that she would be the perfect citizen for the job. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Oster. Ms. Dr. Etika Ramos. Ms. Ramos, thank you for coming in.
Thank you. I'd like to begin with my condolences as well. Good evening, Mayor, council members, Mr. Dovalina. I am Dr. Etika Ramos, and I'm here tonight to express my interest in being appointed to City Council seat Place 3. It is my desire to join the Catoola City Council and build a foundation of success that has already been established. I believe that the greatest threat to future success, unfortunately, is often past success. So in order to progress along the continuum of that success, this appointment requires someone who brings well-traveled experiences, forward thinking, and the ability to connect with people on varying community levels. My collaborative leadership style, strong communication and written skills, along with an innovative eye, would serve as an asset in this position. I believe in operating with a clear mission, coupled with vision for future endeavors, and honing in on the collective power that working as a united team produces. For those who do not know me, I grew up in Katoola. My childhood home is on Carrizo Street. I am a product of Catoola ISD and this community. The foundation of my success started here. And although I left, moved away for school, and to experience just life in and of itself, I have finally come back home. Being appointed to this council seat would provide me the opportunity to give back to my community in the capacity that differs from the realm of education. As a veteran educator of 25 plus years, I offer a proven track record that spans from the classroom to administration. I am currently a Catoola ISD administrator. My personal and professional experiences extend beyond the city limits and the Texas state line. I have lived in Alabama, Mississippi, New Mexico, and Colorado. These experiences offer a multitude of perspectives that can contribute to and inform decisions that impact our community and its citizens. As a servant leader, I believe in encouraging diversity of thought, creating a culture of trust, having an unselfish mindset, and most importantly, fostering leadership in others. My personal motto is, my success means nothing if those around me are not succeeding. Harvey Firestone said, the growth and development of people is the highest calling of leadership. These are the principles by which I would serve as council member place 3. Provided this appointment and the opportunity, I am certain that with my particular skill set, I could immediately step into the position and transition seamlessly in serving the city of Catoola. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos. Is there any other citizen to be heard? All right, thank you all for coming in. Item number 5, departmental and committee reports. Code and compliance. Mr. Garcia?
Good evening, City Council, Mr. Dovalina, Mr. Mayor. My report as of the previous month's call that I had initially 6 contact with citizens, one ranging from unlawful restraint of a dog. I addressed those issues with the owner of the property and gave him a copy of the new law that's in place, and have followed up with our K-9 officer so he can use handouts so he can educate any complaints that may come in regarding those type of issues with the new law that's in place. And if there should continue to be any issues regarding the way they are restrained and the shelters that are in place, then law enforcement would be called. Had an issue on Velasquez Street regarding a property owner having issues with the tenant that lives right next to her vacant property. That vacant property has some rubbish on it that comes from that tenant and the structure right next to her property. The individual at that property is going through some legal proceedings right now with the owner of the property. So we're waiting for that to take effect, where some other form of activity or legal action will be taken through law enforcement. The third one is a nuisance property at 908 Noises. It's been a constant problem. I believe it's been almost a year or 2 where the individual is operating and using the residence to do some work from home. I managed to make contact with that individual and follow through and ensure that he can clean up that property, because it is not zoned for commercial use, for him to be able to do work on the property. He has been making some attempts and has been cleaning the property, so it's not such an eyesore. And I have been following up with him ever since then to ensure he continues to make some progress. And then towards the end of this month, then I will be formally giving him some letters as to what can happen in the future regarding the continued work that is being done at the property. On Gulf Street at the old red store, certified letter making arrangements to clean. That property was taken care of. On Gulf Street and Ortiz and Market Street, there were some issues, concerns regarding travel trailers and permits and placement of trailers beyond property lines. I did visit with the property owner, not once, and then had also followed up with her previously on a phone call regarding that issue. Again, trying to work with getting her to comply and get that taken care of. Concerned citizen called in regarding some livestock issues regarding odors. I checked the property, didn't find anything obtrusive that would overcarry too much. Still made contact with the property owner, advised them of the information. Of course, the livestock is related to high school projects and things like that. So he said he would look into it and pay attention to that. I did issue a citation to an individual who had unauthorized connection. As of that date, this was back in the early part of February. As of today, he paid that fine today, in fact, and is current on his services. I did have a meeting with the sheriff's office also regarding the issues of what we're having with the unauthorized connections, tampering with the water meters, and I'm following through by making those reports with law enforcement so we can document and have a case number and get a better handle on follow through on those situations. Seems, and hopefully we can monitor that a little bit better and closely. The two cases I had was on one was on Market Street and the other was on Neal Street. So case reports were generated for those two incidents. I did have a contact warning right here on Gulf Street, next to the red store. Elderly individual, gave him a warning, told him he'd put it out, he quickly extinguished the fire. There was a demolition scheduling pending, but since of that date to now, that demolition has already taken place and the property has been cleared. It was a voluntary demolition. So with that being said, the next property was a scheduled demolition, but has been since purchased by another citizen and was taken off the demolition list and was already cleaned and taken care of by the new owners. I mailed out 4 first warning letters regarding mostly weeds, grass, and trash, and a second letter as a courtesy to another property owner here in Catoola. I did pick up some signs along the easements, political signs, and some of those internet signs. The political signs were returned to those candidates. And I did have a property come in compliance after contacting the owner out of state. And that was on the end, towards the end of the month of January into the beginning of February. And I'm still, like I mentioned, do follow up on that address at 908 Nueces Street with the property owner. And that is all I have.
Councilman, any questions for Mr. Garcia?
You mentioned that you spoke to the K-9 officer in regards to the new ordinance for dog.
Yes.
Pickup and all that. Is it possible to publicize it like on the current, so other people be aware of the new ordinance that there is out there? And also
Or the new law, yes, sir.
It's actually a new state law. It's
Yeah,
new
but
state
some
law.
people
It's
don't
not an
get
ordinance.
the,
But we can publish it.
yeah.
Did
And
we
also,
not
I
have
know
that?
that
Huh?
the election signs on the right of way itself, I know sometimes it may be a runoff or something. If not, is it 10 days or 15 days after the elections? Make sure that they remove those signs, really valuable for those signs.
When I initially started checking on those easements regarding signs, of course, not just political signs, but any other signs, I did try and make contact with the Democratic chair to get in touch with him to spread the word with the candidates,
Okay.
but I haven't been able to reach him. I did try knocking on his door at his business and things like that, but
Right, appreciate that.
Yeah, Councilman Zartucha, if I might,
Extend that.
agenda item 8 actually addresses the unlawful restraints, so it's actually an ordinance that will be presented this evening that will actually incorporate the state law provisions into the city code, and that does require publication.
Okay, I appreciate it.
So if it's approved tonight, it will be published before it takes effect.
That is correct.
anything else? Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Garcia? If not, thank you very much for that report, Mr. Garcia.
Thank you, sir.
Water and wastewater.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. You have my report in your packs. Gonna go over a few of the projects that we're working on currently. The water tower project is being constructed at the street yard. The tower has been erected. It has been completely welded, and they're actually working on the paint. They're painting the tower right now. It has been inspected throughout the welding process. It was inspected twice, and it passed all inspections. Pending on the project after the paint is they have pipe work to do. There's going to be some electrical work that's going to be done. SCADA is the computer system we use to operate our water system. That's going to be implemented into the tower system. Site work and then fencing. So they still have a little bit to do on that one. There is a agenda item for tonight for that specific. There's actually 2 agenda items for that tonight. So, Pool Street project. There's also 2 agenda items for that one tonight. I was notified today that they're gonna start putting tar oil down on Monday and Tuesday next week. On Wednesday, they're actually looking to pave that road. The drainage has been completed. The remainder of driveways were completed today. I do see one driveway that is requiring a patch that hasn't been completed yet, and I was waiting to see if they're gonna do it. I'll bring it to their attention before they complete the project. After the Pool Street project, we're suspecting that they're gonna go ahead and move over to the Ortiz Street project, street and drainage. We are waiting one approval from the USDA on that project. After that, I believe they're gonna go ahead and start it. So hopefully it's simultaneous that when they're done pool, they'll go directly over there. The generator project for the 2 newer water wells. We had a meeting 2 weeks ago, and we had a short meeting today on it. And we're still trying with the engineering firm CDM Smith. We're still trying to weigh out options and see what will be best for the city. It's still kind of preliminary, and that's kind of what we're doing at the moment.
Estimated time when that would be completed?
We're hoping to see it by fall next year, or fall this year. So.
We still have those generators.
Yes.
As backup?
Yes, we have them there, and until February 28th, I was gonna go ahead and let them pick them up, March 1st. The city's paying somewhere around $14,000 a month to hold those generators there. And if the weather warms up, there's not really much reason to have them there anymore. So, okay, we have another water project, was the floodplain mapping project. And that project there, the floodplain map has been developed, and it is being, it's gonna be submitted to FEMA for approval. On that, I'm sure there's gonna be an upcoming presentation on it, but a lot of your properties that were within the floodplains, within the city and the Mustang Creek, have actually been removed from the floodplain, or the actual impact to the property has been reduced.
And
It's,
it's in the proposed draft that's being
Right.
submitted to FEMA,
FEMA.
and it's not yet approved, so
right.
what he's telling you is not actual factual yet.
Correct. So, yeah, exactly it. It's not a fact yet, it's not approved. We're expecting FEMA to maybe take up to 6 months to approve it, or give comment, or, if they have an issue with it, to let us know.
So after it gets approved, it does go to the appraisal office, and so they can be notified that.
What the map does is it creates the hazardous waterway, which is the actual creek bed itself. Then it creates a floodplain and a floodway. And it all is designated in the map, and it was done after all the surveying and the hydrological stuff was done to it. And then it'll be, once it's approved by FEMA, FEMA will officially notify us that it's approved and that the map is approved. They'll stamp it, we'll take it to the appraisal district, and then the people that are mortgaging new homes that are forced to buy flood insurance will no longer have that expense. And I believe the current expense for flood insurance is somewhere around $4,000 a year.
Thank you.
Yes. So as far as water, that's all I have. I am gonna give a report for the wastewater. Mr. Orton Day's in Eagle Pass at a water conference, and he's not here tonight. So, but I only have really one item to speak of, and it's the wastewater plant project that we're proposing for the wastewater plant. Currently, the plan design is at 60%. We're expecting 90% design the second week of March. The geotech we spoke about last month has been completed for the design. And this project was considering the mechanical bar screens that we want to put in to remove all the trash that enters the wastewater plant. One clarifier that's been down for two years now that needs a repair, and then the addition of 4 drying beds. And that's what this project's going to cover. When I get to 90%, I'll be able to give a lot more detail than what we have right now. So, and that'll be probably the next meeting. Okay.
Are we still having issues with the baby wipes and stuff?
Yeah.
Never ending. It's
On the baby
constant.
wipes thing,
Yes, sir.
I actually just got my students involved in this last week. So last
Mhm.
Friday we started it. So maybe you guys saw some on social media, but they're trying to create a PSA for the community to try to reduce the amount of wipes. So if you guys can keep taking pictures and see if there's a
Sure
change,
will.
as soon as you see a change that's maybe good for them,
Mhm.
please let me know so I could let them know
That
and
there's been
update
an
them.
impact.
Yeah, encourage them to continue making changes in the community.
Okay.
But,
yeah, my son
Yeah,
mentioned it to me yesterday that you were doing it.
Okay,
Yeah, my kids brought it also.
Yeah.
And what I'd like to do also, I'm compiling them all into one document. I'd like to see maybe we could put it on the website or something.
Sure,
we
That
can.
way, people can all find it there because I know everybody doesn't have everybody on social media. But
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
hopefully that makes an impact. But yeah, please keep us updated.
Yes, sir. We sure will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's all I have for the 2 reports. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Good? All right, thank you.
Thank you, David. Gas Department?
Good evening, everybody. Gas department, as of right now, has 495 active gas meters. We currently have 3 new customers wanting gas, so as of right now, we're looking for parts for them, and hopefully soon we can get them gas to their residents. We've completed 65 811 locates in and around the city. Katula Gas Department is in the process of repairing and replacing most gas meters throughout the city. In the beginning of the year, we went around town and we took a list of all the meters that are, low to the ground, leaning to the side, kind of not painted well. So we took a list and we're in the process of replacing some of those, trying to straighten them out. And last month in January, I believe, replaced 8 meters in total. We had 1 leak in town at 507 Market Street. It was a grade 3 leak. It was a 3/4 cutoff valve that was leaking, and that valve was replaced, and gas services was restored to the customer. Pending leaks, we still have that pending leak in Gardendale, 35 in Oxford. It's a grade 3 leak on the 4-inch main line. Other than that, that's it.
A couple of questions on that.
Go ahead, Mr.
Do you
Sergio.
have enough parts to repair what you need to repair, or have an inventory?
I apologize. I reached out to a company in Houston who deals with parts for the gas system, and right now I'm waiting for a quote. I gave him a list of a bunch of parts that we normally use when we, do leaks and repair meters. So I gave him a list, and we're still waiting on that from him.
You mentioned three businesses that are still pending for, I guess, connections.
Yes, yeah.
Who does the inspection on those businesses or when they connect? Is it has to be certified, gas man that repairs for them, or how does it work?
Well, the city has in the city we are qualified to work on the gas system. Once we hook up the meter from the customer to their building, that is up to them who they decide who they want to get to connect.
But it has to be certified.
They don't have to be certified.
They don't have to be certified?
No. The only thing that have to be certified is if the customer wants a poly line, then that plumber has to be certified in connecting that poly line.
Even though for new businesses or an existing business, the same thing?
Same thing.
Okay. One other item I didn't mention to David, and I'm gonna mention it to all the maintenance employees and other departments. Do you all, your employees have enough safety items like gloves? I know you all have jackets. I know it's coming up in the future for safety boots.
Yes.
Make sure that nobody's left behind on any item that they need to do the job safely. That's basically my concern on safety for the employees. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Councilman, any other questions for Gerardo on the gas department? Not Gerardo, thank you very much for that report. Streets and Park, Mr. Thomas.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, Mr. Dovalina. City of Cotulla personnel, along with Code Enforcement Officer Mr. Garcia, demolished a structure at 606 Oasis Street. The customer paid $1,800 for the demolition. Also, the City of Cotulla demolished a burned trailer house on 1001 Martinez Street that belonged to Victor Roman, which was caught in a fire. So that was a nuisance, so we demolished that one. The City of Cotulla personnel utilized the loader, backhoe, and tractor with shredder to clear the brush and mow grass behind the fire station on North Main Street, and using the maintainer to level the dirt in the ground there. So that's been cleared behind the old fire station on Main Street. Also, the City of Cotulla personnel installed cell phone and school zone signs on Medina and Bader Streets for the new elementary school. And we were also gonna host a Trasharama cleanup this Saturday, but due to the inclement weather, we canceled it, we postponed it, and it won't be till the following Saturday because of the weather. So,
Just make sure it's not on Wild Hog Cook-Off.
Any questions?
That's gonna be updated on the website also?
Yes, sir, I believe it was done today.
Okay, so I saw, when I went to pick up my package today, I saw a paper, a wall, it's still up.
When I look at the one for the following days until after Saturday,
Okay.
it's gonna be something.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Thomas on streets and parks?
Do you happen to have any equipment that are down or needed, some parts to repair?
No, we just, about a couple of weeks ago, with the help of David, we got the new power washer, so we got everything that we needed.
Okay.
I was just gonna make a comment. I brought this up last time, but I haven't had a chance to follow up. I was gonna talk to the county about the limb pickup. I wanted to see, I know they're picking up some limbs, but I know there's some areas of town that aren't. I would like for us to work on being able to pick up limbs throughout town, because the one complaint I have heard from people is how come they pick up on that side and not on this side?
Sure.
So how could we go about getting
If we
something like
do
that
a
started?
process where you wanna have limb pickups, we're gonna have to structure an ordinance that forces the homeowner to cut the branches to a certain size so that the vehicles that we have are able to access and to conveniently pick them up.
So we just have to let
We-
them know what
we
our
would-
limitations
We would
are.
need to create you would need to create an ordinance.
Okay.
And we would suggest the right things to put in to
So
make it.
to create that ordinance, would I have to bring it up, like say this meeting or following meeting?
No, you're bringing it up now and you're telling me that you wanna do this, and so we'll present it to you.
So it'll be in another line item in another meeting.
Next meeting, okay, perfect. So then, yes, I submit that. Please have it in the next one. That's it, that's all I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've been, on that note, we've been helping out the community. Some of the community are, they're elderlies,
Mm-hmm.
and they have no one to help
Yeah.
them, and, we've been there to facilitate things for them. So,
Yes.
Mr. Thomas and his staff, they take the proper equipment, and they go and they pick these up and take them to our landfill
Mm-hmm.
or the airport.
We review the service orders that come in, and if I feel that that lady is an elderly, then I get my guys to go.
Yeah.
She's got no way
Most
of
of them,
putting it.
most of them are young, and sometimes they don't want to throw them themselves. Now, if they don't have a truck or the proper things, you know, they usually call him or call the office, and I do get some calls, and we try to help them out.
Yeah, no, because what I've seen, like, because I spent some time in Laredo while I was in college, and you drive through some of the neighborhoods and you'll see limbs piled up on the edge, and you drive by the next day and, well, they're all gone. So talking to some of the people that live there, they say, oh, they don't ask us our age or anything, we just put them there and they pick them up. So
Actually, there's two ways that happens. That ordinance requires you to have 6-foot branches or 3-foot branches that are cut and bundled in order for them to pick up. And so when you wrap them up, there is a truck on Fridays that comes by and picks them up, because it's convenient for the truck to actually pick up that size of branches and take care of it in the same garbage truck that they use for garbage. So that's why I'm saying, when you create the ordinance, you need to make sure that it's done right, so that the equipment that we currently have is able to do that.
yeah, so that way we don't, I guess.
But,
Yeah, not
but you
have the
do
equipment to
call,
pick
in
that
that
stuff
case,
up.
you call 211 or 311 and actually create a work order.
Oh, okay, so that's
And
how it would be
they
done.
go. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Thomas? No, thank you, Mr. Thomas, for that report. Sanitation, Mr. Martinez.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, Mrs. Dovalina. The sanitation report for the month of January, there was 27 total trips done to Laredo. 538,000 pounds of trash was picked up in LaSalle County for the month of January, which is 269 tons. Some maintenance that was done at the transfer station was that the ramp railing was repainted yellow on some good days that we had in January. Also, there was work done on the compactor hopper that was requiring some welding, and that was also taken care of. We had a little speed bump with our trucks in the month of January. We had some little problems here and there with all 3 trucks at one time. Commercial truck number 11 was out of service for a couple of weeks. It needed some repairs done, and the repairs were done by Russ Trucking. The engine turbo needed to get replaced. They had also a coolant leak, and an oil line damage hose needed to get fixed. That truck has been fixed and is back in service. The smaller garbage truck that we have also had a little not damage, just the work done to it, which the DF heater hose needed to be replaced. And that was only out a couple of days, and that was done also by Russ Trucking. The smaller truck is back in service also. The other older truck, garbage truck number 12, had a hydraulic fitting that was damaged on the cable cylinder. That fitting has been replaced, and that truck is back in service. That service was done by me and one of the street department individuals. We were able to fix that and not take a rush. Just want to say that there was one day, and I can't remember which day it was, we had to cancel the residential route due to the weather. And I want to thank Mr. Thomas, Esteban Ramirez, and the street department for helping us the next following day, working day, and helping us to provide service to the citizens, the residents of Catoola. And they went out there, we went out there in trailers. They were out there and helping with the garbage trucks. At that time, we did have a truck down, so we only had 2 of them. And they did an awesome job. All the trash got picked up from the day prior, the route prior. and to provide service for the community and the residents. And that's, but besides the monthly maintenance that we do at the transfer station, that's all my report for this, for today.
I have one question.
Go ahead.
I was gonna ask you a question. The gentleman that works there at the landfill, Mr. Coronado.
Yes, sir.
I know that there's a little house there.
Correct.
I'm just wondering, does he go inside that building to keep warm on weathers like this?
He does. He is provided. We do have an air condition for the summer, and he does have a heater for the winter. There's also a small refrigerator. Of course, it has electricity.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, Councilman, for Mr. Martinez?
No, sir.
Mr.
Thank you.
Martinez, thank you very much for that report. Animal control. Mr. David Gonzalez.
Good evening, everyone. For the month of January, I picked up 13 dogs, placed them in the animal shelter. Four of them were taken by the South Texas Brush Puppy Organization. I picked up 10 deceased off the street. 7 were euthanized, and the shelter was weeded, maintained. The sanitized daily. Remove the water from the animal shelter, and the kennels were also repainted and repaired. And that's all I have for January.
And everything okay? Has it, the inspector come and inspected and it passed the inspect?
Yes.
Okay.
Any questions?
Yeah, we have.
I did check on the truck that we ordered last year, and because of the supply situation,
Correct.
that truck hasn't even been manufactured because we haven't got the serial number of the truck yet.
Okay.
But we do have it on order, and I wanna say it's gonna take the better part of the year
Correct.
for us to get it.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that update.
Any other questions for Mr. Gonzalez? Thank you. Now, thank you very much for that report, sir. Ms. Karina on Main Street.
Good evening, City Council members, Mayor, Mr. Dovalino. Bear with me, as I know y'all's packet is pretty long. A lot of things have been happening. So I attended Texas Road Places Preserving Texas History Conference in Austin during the coldest time, during the winter storm, February 2nd through the 24th. Unfortunately, a lot of the classes were canceled due to speakers not being able to travel in and things of that nature. So you can, in your packet, you can find the classes that I actually attended, and if y'all want some more information, I can go ahead and forward y'all the information on the classes. City Hall ribbon cutting took place on February 11th at 3 p.m. For those that were in attendance, of course, you know that the main speaker was Texas State Representative District 31, Ryan Guillen, and we also had a representative from Congressman Tony Gonzalez's office, which was District Director Michael Blair. I also want to thank all departments from the city administration, the street department, water department. Everybody worked as a team. It was all collectively. It was a great success, and everything, of course, was done in-house, from the food to the labels on the waters to the landscaping of the deer and the javelina, if y'all actually saw it. Bianca and I actually went and bought those plants. Next, you can find Stockman Bank Phase 2. It's still underway. In your packet, you can find, I included pictures of different features, the main features of the building, which include downstairs, the original stairs, the original closet door that will be used downstairs, the beautiful windows that I'm excited about for the lighting, and then, of course, a building picture from the outside, as well as you'll always find the floor plans. On February 14th, Petula Main Street hosted a visit from a local author, Jeronima Garza, Love for a Lady. It was a great success. The kids were very much excited. She got to read to each grade level. Catula Main Street and City of Catoola donated a book to each third grader, as the book is written towards third grade reading level. And then we also donated 3 hardcover books for the school to keep. So they were all very generous, or very appreciative of that. And then 2 representatives from our office, which will be Mr. Davalina and then Accounts Payable Georgia Martinez, will be participating in the Ramirez Burks Elementary National Read Across America Day. And I've included a schedule of that in y'all's packet. And then building updates, material has been purchased. There is a couple of holes and things that need to be repaired on the Main Street barn on Front Street. So we've actually purchased that material already. It's in the barn. We're just waiting to get started on that as other projects are going on. And then paint color was chosen and approved for the Main Street barns on Highway 97, the red barns, the Main Street barn. And you can find the color in your packet. It's a similar color. It's going to be the same. It meets all the historic guidelines and everything. We just want it to look revitalized and refreshed. And then outstanding projects, we have the Plaza Florita, which is a recorded Texas Historical Landmark designation. And you can find that the Preservation Central will complete the application and send it to the Texas Historical Commission to be finally approved. And then you'll also find a picture of the design that was picked and chosen for the plaque for Plaza Florita for the National Historic Designation. And then we've also, a contract has been signed with Preservation Central for them to perform the preliminary steps as far as the field work and research for Cristo Rey Cemetery. And then I'll also be attending the Laredo workshop for Texas Historic Preservation Plan, March 29th in Laredo. Is there any questions or concerns with
I have one question. On the plaque that you're indicating on this paper, where is it exactly going to be at the Plaza Florita? Where is it going to be mounted?
It will be placed on the gazebo.
The gazebo?
That's why we picked that exact. There was other design options, but we picked the square because that would fit perfectly with the gazebo and look appropriate.
The location is, you pick it, but the design actually comes from the Department of the Interior and THC. So they determine how the plaque actually looks, and they approve the wording on the plaque itself.
Yeah, the verbiage and everything else will come from them. We just picked the actual design and they send us different options. Any other questions or concerns? I also have a book for a Glove for a Lady book, the ones that were read at the school for each city council member, and at this time I'll present the book to Ms. Patricia Garcia on behalf of Juan Garcia because he's passed and we deeply miss him.
I want to say thank you for keeping everything in line for the ribbon cutting of our city hall. It was such a beautiful day. Everything was in order. And the charcuterie cups were good, by the way.
Well, you can tell Jen because she made them.
That's the first time we've had those at City Hall.
Yes, it is.
Charcuterie.
Charcuterie cups. Thank you, Karina, for that report. And last would be the city administrator.
David didn't mention that we're working on a sewer line that should be ready to go out on bids, that runs from the airport through 624 into the Guadalupe area. And that is going to be out on bids around the latter part of March. I did get a request by one of the councilmen about the white stripe on Front Street, and we're getting a quote from a striping guy out of Laredo, and that should take place over the next couple of weeks. I did get a request about speed bumps from the sheriff. We again need to do an ordinance because we can't put speed bumps in every street. And so there's a certain way that you plan out how traffic safety occurs within the city. You have major collectors, you have arterials, you have streets, that you don't put a speed bump in, no matter what, because of the emergency vehicles, the fire engines, the ambulances, the sheriff's patrols. And so it'll all be brought to you. You look at it, see what you like, what you don't like, why certain things are in there, and then make a determination. In most cases, there is a process for payment of the speed bumps, and it requires a homeowner's participation or the block to participate in order to get the situation in there. So we'll draw from all cities that we know of that have an ordinance like that, compile it all together, put it back, give it to you. You look at it, you say what you like, you don't like, whatever it is, and then you pass it if that's your desire.
Is that including the strips of 4 that go on the streets?
No. The ordinance itself is gonna describe a pattern of what you're gonna use to do those speed bumps. And from that point on, that's how you're gonna do it. Whatever street you determine is gonna get a speed bump, that's how you're gonna do it. And it'll tell you a distance requirement, the type of speed bump that it is, so you don't have one that's this high and you hit your muffler, or so it describes it clearly what it is that you need to do. And there's already models that are sold on the open market that you can purchase, and they're easy to attach to the street once you determine that the speed bump is going to go there.
That's fine.
The criteria, I think, has to be established so that if you're going to do them, it has to be done that way. All of you have seen homemade attempts at speed bumps.
Yes, we have.
Which are blatantly probably a violation of the transportation code, but they're still there. They were put there years ago, and no one's ever really said anything about them. But
the reason you do the description of the installation, the type of things, is to avoid liability, because many people, even if they're reckless, use the speed bumps, they hit the speed bumps, lose control. The first person that or entity that they file a suit against is the city, because they think it has deep pockets, and they'll come after it for doing that installation and for causing a wreck, even though they were the violators, and that's why they did what they did. So you need to think it through very carefully, and we'll think it through when we put it together, so that we protect the city as much as we can from any harm.
I just wanted
Excellent.
to piggyback on what Mr. Dovalina said. My thought is we probably need to engage some type of engineer to look at that, so that one of the things, even if the speed bump is involved, is installed correctly, if it appears that the selection of the streets in which they're put in is done haphazard, or it's just kind of an arbitrary process, I think that's a problem. So as long as you have a plan, and the plan makes sense, and you can support the plan, and you follow your plan, then you're probably all right, even if there could have been a better plan. But if you have no plan, and you're just doing them because some homeowners want them on their street, and they, convince somebody to get them to be done, that's not the way it is, Larry. And he's talked about this before. Collector streets, arterial streets.
Yeah, we've talked about it as well.
And they are needed, but they also impede, for example, emergency responses, fire trucks, ambulance, police cars. So I don't know who we use as an engineer that I would, we have lots of engineers that we use, but I think we really need to have some
No, you need a traffic safety.
study before we start.
You need a traffic safety engineer, and there are available. I met today with the people from the San Antonio Food Bank. They had a meeting talking about secure LaSalle, and they basically were making reference to people who are needy, who don't get enough service as far as food. They estimated, I think this morning, that they were over 1,000 families in LaSalle County that were in need of food supplies that weren't being serviced according to a survey that was done by Feeding America. I would imagine that with the pandemic that number has increased and will change in the future. I think they're currently doing a survey and they created a coalition to basically address that particular issue. And they had several organizations there that are loosely joined to come together to help out the community. And we've stepped in when we need to, as we did during the pandemic when we hosted several food distributions in order to continue to augment whatever food supplies were available in the community. And so we're going to continue to have meetings, and hopefully we'll be able to develop a food pantry so that people can have an emergency supply when something happens, like what happened to our employee whose house burned down on December 24th. Again, I know I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. Love's Travel Center is going to break ground around March the 15th. They will be located south of town at the, I want to say it's mile marker 60, somewhere in that area, right where the underpass is. TxDOT did that underpass out of concrete. They did the down ramp and the up ramp out of concrete. So it's almost an anticipation of the tractor trailer traffic that is going to come in, and we look forward to having them as a new business in town. It'll take approximately about 10 months, I think, to construct that facility, and then we'll have a ribbon cutting and opening. I did have a meeting with TxDOT. I addressed certain issues that I think are eyesores. I particularly talked about the Nueces River Bridge on Business 35, and I said at least paint the facility if you're not going to do anything else, just so it doesn't look like we're withering away. And I was informed that the paint, I guess, has some sort of asbestos or lead. I'm not sure that the engineer knew. I did address the resurfacing of Business 35. In particular, there's the approaches to the bridge, the surface of the bridge, and there are some other areas in town that need to be resurfaced. And I was told that the letting for those particular projects was going to take place this fiscal year, and that they would take care of it. I did remind them that the Nueces River Bridge is considered to be in the 70th percentile, which means that it's in one of the stages where it becomes critical to be reworked, replaced, or renovated. And I urge them to go ahead and do some work on those particular areas. And he told me they would come back to me with some sort of plan to make that happen. They did introduce a lady who was a new area engineer, and I met her and the resident engineer out of Laredo, who is her boss. and also the Director of Operations, also from Laredo.
Well, they did do a lot of work on, I wanna say it's, exit 65, which is where the Loves is gonna be. They did a lot of extensive work there, concrete, and looks really nice, that area now, so. That Loves is gonna be a big Loves, so can't wait to have that on the tax rolls. It'll help our city out. Any other questions, Councilman, for Mr. Dovalina? If not, moving on to item number 6, approval of minutes, January 13, 2022. City Secretary, was there any changes made to the minutes?
No, sir.
Thank you. Councilman, if you have if you had a chance to review the minutes, I need a motion to approve item number 6. First motion by Mr. Santucci, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. I'm gonna skip to item number 24. I need a motion to approve, to move up item number 24, which is the discussion and possible action to appoint of one council member to fill vacancy in place 3. So I need an approval to move that item up. I need a first motion. First motion made by Mr. Sertucci. I need a second. Second by Mr. Hondo. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item number 24 reads, discussion and possible action to appoint of one council member to fill vacancy in place 3. I know that it's Mr. Juan Garcia's a seat. I don't know if you guys know that he was elected 9 terms. At the end of his term, it would have been 18 years. So he honorably served about almost 18 years.
Is this to fill the unexpired term, which is a little bit over a year?
Correct. So the name that came up for that is Gilbert Ayala.
Motion.
That's who he wanted to. That's who he wanted. Juan wanted to fill his seat. Is Gilbert Ayala. I need a first motion to approve that.
Motion.
First motion is Mr. Rodriguez. I apologize for that. I need a second motion.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Garcia, Hondo Garcia. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay.
We got one nay.
Nay. Is this the way it usually works? You just select
Yes.
right here? Okay.
I'd like to recommend another name.
You can't call the motions in play.
Okay.
If
Well,
you
if
have
the motion-
two
if the motion-
yeas and 2 nays,
If the motion's accepted, then he wouldn't be able to bring anybody else's name up either way, right?
No.
correct. If
You
the
have to-
nominee
You
is
have to
approved.
finish voting on the motion.
Right.
That's who the seat wanted. So we have 2 nays and 2 yes. Council member and I, Juan, served for a very long time. I respect his word and his decision and what he wanted. It is my duty to vote in favor of Juan's wish. So it's a yes for me.
Motion's
So the motion is approved. Motion passes with 3 yeses and 2 nos.
So Mr. Ayala will serve until
Until the end of the term,
the next municipal election in
next election.
2023.
correct. So coming back to item number 7, discussion with possible action on a resolution of the city of Catoola, Texas, calling an election to be held on Saturday, May 7th, 2022, for the purpose of electing the mayor of the city, 1 council member place 1, 1 council member place 2, by the qualified voters of the city of Catoola, establishing pay rates for election workers, providing an early voting and for notice the election, providing for other matters incident to the election, setting an effective date.
Mayor, if I recall right, we didn't have that meeting on the 10th.
That is correct.
And there was actually a need because of the deadline for that resolution to be approved. So what they're really doing is ratification of that.
Yeah. So I need a first motion to approve item number 7. First motion by Mr. Sertucci. I need a second. Second by Mr. Hondo Garcia. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 8, discussion and possible action on an ordinance of the City of Cotulla, Texas, amending Article 4, Animal Care and Control, Section 8-114, Restraint, and incorporated in substantive provisions in Texas Health and Safety Code and Section 821.102, unlawful restraint of dogs, offense, declaring a public purpose, incorporating recitals, providing a penalty, providing for severability, requiring publication, and setting an effective date.
Mayor, Mr. Dovalina had asked me in February to provide him with an ordinance that addressed the recent legislative changes regarding the chaining of animals. We already had a provision in our city code regarding restraint, and if you will look at the ordinance, I put the amendments in red and they're italicized so you can read those, and those are word for word from the Texas Health and Safety Code section regarding animal restraint. There actually is a misconception that you can no longer chain a dog. You actually can, but there are requirements about the length of the chain and adequate shelter and things of that sort. Hopefully we don't have too many people doing that, but it is a particularly cruel way of restraining an animal if it's done for a long period of time. And these proposed amendments, again, these are word for word from state law. So it's already actually the law. You're just putting it in your code of ordinances so that your code enforcement officer can go out and say, well, here's a city provision that requires that, among other things. So the parts of that section that aren't italicized, those are what the current law actually says and have been in place for a long period of time. So it looks like the city council originally adopted this back in 1987 was the first shot at this. So when we first had our code.
But it's very different from what you're.
What is different?
The old city.
The old city ordinance.
Oh, yeah.
At least this one specifies the length of the chain, shelter, and all that.
5 times the length of the dog from the tip of his nose to the base of his tail.
Yep.
I mean, where they come up with that, I have no idea. But that's what it says. So
It is what it is.
yeah. Hopefully, we can encourage people not to do that. And you've seen pictures, dogs barking at the end of their chain, out in the sun and the rain, and that's probably always been prohibited. But this makes it clear that I think there are other laws that probably would have prohibited that, but I think this makes it clearer that we're going to be doing this. And my understanding is that our new code compliance officer is receiving training to become a code enforcement officer.
Correct. That's correct.
So he can actually effectuate, issues. They can issue citations now, but it's a better. These are things that will go to the municipal court.
He's actually a peace officer.
Right. And those are all things that we need, because I think in the past, Catoola, we don't want to be too hard on people, but there's some things you got to do.
Correct.
And this is one of them, and having the ability to go out there and in fact, my experience as a prosecutor for many years doing this kind of work is most people want to follow law. Some people just don't know or don't care or don't bother. Once you show them, many times you get voluntary compliance, which is what you want.
If there's no questions, Councilman, on item number 8, I seek a first motion to approve item number 8. First motion by Mr. Rodriguez, second by Mr. Sertuche. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Councilman, I'm gonna ask you, for your motion to move up. I need a motion to move up item number 14.
Motion.
So I need a first motion by Mr. Rodriguez, second by Mr. Sertuche. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item 14 reads as discussion and possible action on a request submitted by Leodoro Lolo Martinez asking for permission to rent Veterans Park on February 26, 2022 to host a campaign rally. Mr. Martinez, would you like to say something?
I think that date, that's the wrong date. I think it's Friday, February 25th. And basically, I want the approval to go ahead and close off the street right in front of the courthouse. I'll take care of any of the fees that come with it or anything like that, and permit, as well as the electricity.
That would be this Friday?
Yes, sir.
Where is it? Yeah.
And the street you wanna close is the one in front of the courthouse?
Yes.
Well, it says the 26th. That's a problem.
On your request that you mentioned to them, what date did you put?
I believe it was the 25th, Friday the 25th.
There was an issue with the dates and we were trying to choose whether we were gonna have it at the plaza, and then we canceled the agenda so many times, so it's taken.
Well, the agenda says what it says.
But it should be up to the council, right? To make the
It's in my written request as the 25th.
It's just a mistake by typo in my view, because that's why I asked him if he did a request and what date did he implement. I don't know if she has the correct date on it.
The reason it's before you is because the park in particular has never been used as a facility to rent, so you never administratively set it up so we could go ahead and take care of it ourselves without bringing it to council. The fact that you had 2 cancellations in a row prevented this item for being approved. The first time you were supposed to hold a meeting, and then you had another cancellation, and now this is the third week that we were able to have it. Had we been able to do it administratively, we would have already done it. But we don't have that option. We can establish the option like we have Plaza Florita, and we deal with it on a daily basis. Because that plaza in particular is rented on many occasions for many things, and staff takes care of it all the time. So the only reason that this Veterans Park thing comes to you is because of the way it's set up, because it had never been done before.
So how can we solve this if it's just a typo?
The problem is that the Open Meetings Act requires you to say,
I'll say the problem. Let's do the 26th.
then that's fine.
Okay. Let's just that problem solved. If there's gonna be a typo error,
I would prefer that we'd had the correct date, but I can't make it up. I mean, it says the 26th on here. So.
You're our counselor, and you're the one that keeps us in line. So,
But Mr. Martinez said that he can.
if the 26th It's good for you, the 26th.
Well, I mean, I don't have another choice.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Because in writing, I put the 25th. But hey, to make it easy, let's do the 26th.
I really
All right.
And one of the other
I really don't see a problem on the 25th. You know, I mean, to me, I really don't see a
Mr.
problem.
Dovalina and I talked about it. I wasn't aware that there was an issue with the date, but you know, it's a public forum, it's a public park. If the individual's entitled to use it, we can't prohibit it. The only thing is whoever asks to use it for the same purpose, you know, you have to use the same standard.
You just set up a process and
Let the city, let staff handle it. But I appreciate that you can have that flexibility, because I hate to.
And one of the things that I would like to mention, like you mentioned right now, right, that he's willing to pay for employee costs to install the barricades, remove them the following day, and I know it's probably gonna consist of picking up debris and all that, so he's willing to pay.
we normally do that as a course of business, so we really don't charge for that, and so the process is really a nominal charge for the people that are actually renting the facility, so it's not an actual item where you're trying to recover cost. It's actually presenting a service to the community, and that's what we're trying to do.
It probably be in another agenda later on in the future.
We'll bring it up and do it kind of like we do the other plaza that we have.
And also probably the cost of it is probably needs to be raised instead of that very low amount, because with the little amount that you're charging right now is not enough to pay for the employee and also the electricity.
Yes,
So I think to raise up the amount of rental fee for either or probably be better for the city.
Yeah, we
I
do.
think it's, what is it, $40, $50?
$50.
$50.
So it'd be better to raise it up in the future, because
We'll
you
bring-
spend more electricity and also pay for
I
it.
did also point out to Mr. Dovalina that historically, that south side, I don't know what street that is, in front of the Presbyterian Church, people have sold plates and
Yes,
used
sir.
that street
but that-
forever, and the city's never really required anybody to come and get permission to use it.
We'll bring that issue back to you, and
Okay.
it'll incorporate both of those things with it.
Yeah, what we probably need to do is just have a policy for Florita, Martinez Park, is that?
We already have
Yeah,
policies
just
for those.
pass one set of rules on them. They're not money makers,
Right.
it's just a public
It's just to
space.
provide a service to the community.
Yeah.
Is if he's satisfied for Saturday, is up to him. But if he filled out the 25th, it'd probably be an error on time.
Yeah, unfortunately, the only thing you can approve tonight is the 26th.
Correct. So if he's willing to do it.
So, Mr. Martinez, if the 26th serves you well, then, Councilman, I need a first motion to approve item number 14. First motion by Mr. Cotulla, I need a second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Going back up to item number 9, back to our list, presentation of financial statements by Jorge Flores. Mr. Flores?
Mayor, council members, good evening. First report is the sales tax report. For the month of February, the city received $152,930. So for the first 5 months of the year, the city has received $698,509. Next page is the hotel motel tax collection report. For the month of January, the city received $162,266. And it's not on the report, but so far for February, we've received an additional $63,491 for a total of $225,757. Next report is the statement of revenues and expenditures. For the months ended January 2022. On page number 1, you have general fund revenues of $1,193,773. Page number 4, total expenses of $1,044,536 for net income of $149,237. Water sewer fund, page number 5, revenues, $576,926. Next page, total expenses of $509,681 for net income of $67,244. Page number 7 is the gas fund. Total revenues $135,068. Total expenses $129,310 for net income of $5,758. And on page number 9 is the solid waste fund. Revenues of $259,919. Expenses of $276,091 for a net loss of $16,172. And we included, like I told you, I was gonna include a check register, but I did not include it last meeting. So we have a December and January check register after the statement of revenues and expenses. Are there any questions on the financial report?
I have one. Do you happen to have, or there's none right now on any hotels that still owe taxes?
I don't have that detail with me,
do.
but there are always some
I do have
stragglers.
that. There are 2 hotel properties that have not paid, and there is one other in question that is housing migrants.
Right.
And we have a question whether the state law applies to them or not.
Okay.
And so there's 3 properties in total that are actually delinquent in their 4th quarter. There is 1 property that we probably need to look at a little bit harder that has not paid any of its taxes all year.
Who's making that determination on the?
We're currently doing an audit of the hotel properties, and they're gonna make that determination, whoever the auditor is.
The code,
Auditor.
code. Was that the one you said they were arguing that if they're there 30 days or longer, they don't have to pay? And you said no, but there's multiple residents,
Yeah.
people in and out.
It's gotta be the same person has to rent the hotel room for 30 days. It can't be this guy's in there this week, that guy's next week, the other guy's the other week, because then they become a regular customer.
So it has no bearing.
It should have no bearing.
Who the renter is.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be an interesting case.
Councilman, any questions for Mr. Flores?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, Mr. Flores, thank you very much for that report.
Thank you, Mayor.
Moving on to item number 10, discussion and possible action on a proposal submitted by Canales Garza and BAM PLLC for continued auditing services.
Mayor, our auditors are requesting, they're out of Laredo, and they're requesting an additional 4 years to provide audit services to the city. The first 2 years is at $34,000. The last 2 years is at $36,000, and we recommend approval.
Has the city gone out for proposals?
How
on
long
this?
have y'all used these,
I think it's 2 years or 3 years?
3, I think so.
I believe 3 years.
3 years. Normally you have a hard time getting auditors,
Correct.
because they have a hard time in their process of getting their peer groups that they have to revise or follow whatever the procedure is. And a lot of times people won't bid. There are cities, I wanna say like Encinal, who probably don't have audits. And when you go before Texas Department of Agriculture, Texas Water Development Board, that you need what are called single audit reports. If you don't have an audit, you don't get the grants and you don't get the funds or the loans.
What is the last audit that the city has had?
Last year?
We're
The
currently
2020
working.
audit, I'm already in the process of sending them all the information for the 2021 audit.
Oh, is this an extension to their contract? Is that what we're doing, extending their contract?
Well, it's not an extension.
It's not
but
really an
yeah.
extension, but
It's
it's
just
a
a
new-
proposal. You can't legally commit beyond a year anyway, unless you have a provision in there that allows you to get out of it in case you choose not to fund it. But I mean, the proposal, if it's accepted, is subject to that. So there's something called a no funding out clause that you have to include in anything that's not paid out of current revenue. So.
And the engagement letter provided by the auditors has that
Has that in
language
Yeah.
that either the city or they can start proceedings to
Yeah.
break the contract.
To break, okay. Councilman, any questions on item number 10?
No, sir.
If not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 10.
Aye.
First motion by Mr. Zertuche, I need a second.
Aye.
Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. Moving on to item number 11, discussion and possible action to proceed with future annexations.
We provided you a map and we currently identified the areas that we're in the process of annexation. Most of the areas are the ones that we know where either they're city property or there's something happening there in the future, and we're gonna sit down with Mr. Peña and the engineer. We already have the meets and bounds descriptions of the areas, and we're gonna set up the hearings so that we can go ahead and finish the annexations, and so that they'll become part of the tax rolls for the next year.
I've actually started working on this with Mr. Martinez, and he has to give me some more details on meets and bounds of some of this stuff. The only one that kind of stuck out at me was that Newman utility easement, because it looks like it's outside of the city.
We currently have, they gave us a right-of-way utility easement, and that's why we're bringing it into the city limits.
And it connects to.
Yes, it connects to Airport Road, which is part of the city.
Yeah.
And it connects to 97, which is also part of the city.
So every time our legislature meets, they make it harder for cities to annex property. They're not really after cities like Catoola, they're after big cities.
Like Houston.
But the city has a right to annex property that it owns. Now, does it own an easement? Well, it owns the rights to the easement. The land is actually still owned by the Newmans. But I just, it's kind of a squiggly line on the map, so I wasn't sure exactly where that is.
Yeah,
but-
it depends on how the right-of-way is acquired, like the right-of-way that we acquired from Mirta Garcia. We actually own that right-of-way.
So,
Where the circle consists of the area you were talking about?
Yes.
Is it so many acres or?
No,
Just
it's
a certain number of
actually,
feet
it's
in
a
distance.
number of feet in distance from wherever, like, there's one off of that easement that we did next to the prison that's on Mirta Garcia's property. And there's also a gentleman that set up a mobile home within that area. When he asked for water and sewer service, he agreed in a letter that he would want to be annexed by the city, so she sold him the property. And because we're annexing the right-of-way, he's adjacent to the right-of-way, so we also are able to capture that particular property.
and is this some of that cleanup work that we had on some of those weird easements
Yeah,
from the 60s?
We need to fix some of the things that are out there, and we're capturing him slowly but surely. There's easements that are out there that are in la la land.
Yeah, and the other ones is the lift station towards the sewer plant, am I correct? Is the
Yes.
lift station there?
Yes, that's where the proposed new sewer line is gonna come in.
And how about the one that goes to the river on South on Main Street?
Which one?
I believe it's Kevin. Hayden?
Huh?
The one that's
It's
very
right there
bottom
off
of here,
of Main Street.
on the far left. bottom.
That's a man from Houston by the name of Manley who wants water service, and we have both a water and sewer line that run in front of his property, and the only way he's gonna get the service is if he agrees to annex.
Is that commercial?
Voluntarily.
No, it's a personal residence.
Voluntary annexation.
That's really the only way the city can annex anything anymore, is if people ask.
Mhm. Councilman, any other questions on item number 11?
There's no action, Mayor, that's
No action
needed
needed
on
on
that.
this one?
There isn't any action.
No action needed on item number 11. Moving on to item number 12, discussion and possible action on request submitted by Jamie Whitwell on behalf of the Children's Alliance of South Texas, asking to use the Alexander Convention Center with fee waived to host their fundraising event. Is there anybody here to speak on Ms. Whitwell? Thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Good evening, Mayor Garcia, Councilman, and Mr. Dovalina. My name is Jamie Whitwell, and I'm here tonight as a board member of the Children's Alliance of South Texas. We're hosting a fundraiser on April 9th and would like for the city of Catoola to sponsor the Alexander Convention Center for this event. As a board member of the Children's Alliance of South Texas, I've learned that the center is not a state-funded center, but it's 501c3 and relies on grants and donations. Also, as a board member, I've learned the importance of this center in our community. Sergeant Investigator Esme Gonzalez is here to give you some more insight into that.
Good evening, council members and Mayor Garcia, Mr. Dovalina. CAST is whom I've come very, it's become very dear to my heart. I stand here before you in representing the Children's Alliance of South Texas, which is CAST to us. CAST is like how Ms. Whitwell explained, it is a nonprofit organization, and it is it's been successful based on grants and fundraising events. So we are scheduled to have a fundraising event, but I wanted to share with you a little bit about what CAST is all about. So CAST was established in 2013 here in LaSalle County to service 5 counties within our district. So that is LaSalle, Frio, Karnes, Wilson, and Atascosa. Prior to 2013, and me being in law enforcement, we've had history with advocacy centers and so forth. But prior to 2013, we had to rely on taking our children to go get interviewed in centers in San Antonio and Laredo. As time passed, they started to turn us down, and because of their availability and just they're overwhelmed with their interviews. So our district attorney, Audrey Lewis, established a team to start getting something geared towards our own advocacy center that would help our own families within our district. And so 2013 is when CAST was established here locally. So our center focuses on servicing families with therapy, counseling, interviews, and counseling that services immediate family at no fee to the family or the child, and it is a lifetime service provided to them. If these are children that are victims that need any form of medical services, medical component is also included in there, free of charge to the child. The center provides forensic interviews, but not only to our victims of sexual abuse or physical abuse or any type of domestic violence crime, but all types of crimes. If they're a witness or if they're a victim of any form of crime, this is where we take our children. So it has been a very crucial component to our investigations. They are the bridge between the families and law enforcement, and it helps the families and the children heal throughout the process as well. So we're here asking council members, Mr. Dovalina, Mayor Garcia, if you all would be able to help sponsor this event. It is a purse bingo that is scheduled for April 9th, but all of the funds go towards the center, not just LaSalle, but it services the 5 counties. And the monies would go for therapists, for the interviewers, for the medical components, and the directors and their staff. It has been with the help of the community that the Advocacy Center has been successful in operations thus far, and we ask for your help and support for this event. Thank you all for giving us the opportunity to speak on their behalf today, and thank you for your continued support. Thank you.
Councilman, any questions? Not, ladies, thank you very much for that presentation. I seek a first motion to approve item number 12.
A motion.
First motion by Mr. Rodriguez, second by Mr. Zertuche. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Thank you, guys. Thank you, ladies. Moving on to item number 13, discussion and possible action on a request submitted by Catoola High School class of 2023 asking for the use of the Alexander Convention Center with fee waived to host their junior-senior prom. I believe we did this 2 years ago, before COVID.
Yes, we did.
And we helped the junior senior class out, so I seek a first motion to approve item number 13.
Motion.
First motion by Mr. Rodriguez, I need a second. Second by Mr. Hondo Garcia, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 15, discussion and possible action to approve change order number 2 submitted by Sal Construction for Pool Street Water Line Improvement Project, extending the completion ending date to March 1st, 2022.
This is a change order that only extends the number of days. It does not increase the cost.
So we're just changing the complete date of completion, am I correct?
Correct.
So I seek a first motion to approve item number 15.
Aye.
First motion by Mr. Zertuche, I need a second. Second by Mr. Rodriguez, all in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 16, discussion and possible action to approve an amendment to agree for engineering services between the City of Catoola and SMB Infrastructure LTD for Orthistry project, extending the completion ending date to May 31st, 2022.
This is also an extension of days, not.
No
not
money.
months.
No money increases.
No.
Decreases would be good, but I seek a first motion to approve item number 16. First by Mr. Zertuche, I need a second. Second by Mr. Hondo Garcia, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 17, discussion and possible action to approve change order number 1 submitted by Cell Construction for Orthistry's project, deducting $153,430 from the original contract of price of $349,902.50, making the new contract price $196,472.50.
Can I ask the reason they
it's, they were gonna do, concrete on the, alley that goes, behind Raymond Sanchez's house between Shadow's property and, the Treviños. And we talked to them about doing asphalt and also not putting in curbs in that particular area. We're still gonna do concrete on Orthistry with the curb and gutters because we're gonna surface drain using the street so that it gets into that little creek that we constructed. If you remember, what we've done there is we did it backwards. We did first the channel that goes to the creek, and then we did the area that's coming north. And we have a proposal from a lady that's there to buy her piece of property so we can actually put the drainage pipe all the way to the railroad track, which is what we intend to do. This project is only for the alley and for Ortiz and the curb and gutter.
This is the one that has to be done one at a time, so we won't jeopardize some of the funds, the grants that we're getting?
Yes, we submitted the deduction to the Texas Department of Agriculture. We have not received their approval letter yet.
Okay.
So, but you have to approve it in order for them to approve.
Correct.
Councilman, any other questions on item number 17? If not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 17. First motion by Mr. Rodriguez, second by Mr. Zertuche. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 18, discussion and possible action to approve change order number 2, submitted by McGuire Iron Incorporated for the for Katula, LaSalle County Airport Elevated Storage Tank Project, extending the completion date to June 8th, 2022. Again, this is not involving money, just extending the ending dates.
The time.
Or the time of completion of the project. I seek a first motion to approve item number 18. First motion made by Mr. Sartucci. I need a second. Second by Mr. Hondo Garcia. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 19, discussion and possible action on an application and certification for payment number 10 submitted by McGuire Iron in the amount of $53,443.25 for the airport elevated storage tank project.
You're not changing anything. They're just doing a draw, and I'm informing you that the draw is occurring.
All of these draws have already been approved, but we'd like to bring them back so you can see what phase they are or what draw that they're in. I seek a first motion to approve item number 19. First motion by Mr. Rodriguez. I need a second by Mr. Zertuche. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 20, discussion and possible action on a contractor's application for payment number 6 submitted by Sal Construction in the amount of $114,739.04 for the Pool Street and water line improvements. Again, we've already approved all of this, but this is ratification or ratifying the payment. So I seek a first motion to approve item number 20. First motion by Mr. Sartuche, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 21, discussion and possible action on a contractor's application payment submitted by Briscoe Architectural Conservation in the amount of $29,584 for the Stockman's Bank Phase 2. I seek a first motion. First motion by Mr. Rochuche, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item number 22, discussion and possible action to approve pay request number 8, submitted by CDM Smith in the amount of $28,416.75 for professional service regarding task order number 2, wastewater treatment plant improvements project. If there's no questions on item number 22, I seek a first motion to approve item number 22. First motion made by Mr. Satucci, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item number 23, discussion and possible action to approve pay request number 6 submitted by CDM Smith in the amount of $23,219 for professional services regarding task order number 5, City of Katula, Floodplain map revision. If there's no questions on item number 23, I seek a first motion to approve item number 23. First motion by Mr. Satucci, I need a second. Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 25, discussion with possible action.
We move to table that.
We move to table that?
Yeah, we need to table it because we're not ready.
I need a first motion to table item number 25.
I motion.
First motion, Mr. Reynaldo Garcia, second by Mr. Sertuche. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Closed session, text government code and section 551 .02 deliberations about real estate. Letter A, purchase of real estate. It is now 8:40. All right, well, we were in closed session. No action was taken in closed session. Coming out to open session, it is now 9:08. No action needed on item number 27.
And staff can proceed with negotiations.
And staff can proceed. Moving on to, before I adjourn, we lost a council member who was gonna serve his 9th term. He was shy of a year and maybe 3 months. I would like to take a moment of silence to honor him and his dedication to our city and all the good and the people who he helped. So a moment of silence, please. All right.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, when I first arrived here in 2008, almost 14 years ago, one of the first persons that I met was Councilman Garcia. And unlike other governmental entities, you guys come here as public servants. You get no pay. Many times you get no praise, and all you get is complaints. And I think it takes a special person to be public servant. And I commend you for what you do, and I commend him for what he did. And of all the things that I was asked, what he had accomplished, the only thing that I could say was that he was my friend.
Well, he was my friend too, sir. When you see enough of, when you spend enough time together and serving for our community, our people, going to cities convention for the benefit of our cities, you tend to become friends when you stick around long enough, and not just friends that you say hi to, but friends that you start coming over to his house or things of that nature. And you invite him to your gatherings, family gatherings. So Mr. Juan Garcia, you will be deeply, deeply missed, not only by us, but by your family and your community as well. And thank you for your service. Moving on to item number 28 is to adjourn the meeting. It is now 9:10, and this meeting is adjourned.